You didn't come here to play it safe. You came here to build something that lasts. And early this week, Capricorn, the universe is handing you a blueprint. Not the kind drawn in pencil, but etched in truth. Because May 26th and 27th don't just whisper opportunity, they carve it. Through structure, through silence, through every decision you've delayed, waiting for a better time. This is the better time. Not because it's easy, but because you're ready. Monday morning hits differently. Not with noise, but with a deep pull in your chest. A knowing, a pressure, a pulse that says something wants to shift. And it starts with your priorities. Because Pluto in Capricorn forms a subtle but powerful angle with Mercury in Taurus, a conversation between legacy and voice, between what you're building and what you're finally ready to name. Capricorn, this is your architectural moment, but not with blueprints, with boundaries, with values, with a voice that doesn't tremble anymore. So sit with this. What have you been tolerating because it's familiar? What have you been avoiding because it's uncomfortable? What vision have you kept quiet because the world wasn't ready? Here's the truth. The world may never be ready, but your soul is. And these days aren't about waiting for perfect timing. They're about creating it. So start the day by clearing the mental noise before you check the messages. Before you read the numbers, open your journal, title the page, I don't build from fear. Then list 10 things you've been avoiding because you were afraid to fail. Write fast, no filters, no edits, just truth. Then circle the one that hurts to admit. That's your gold mine. Because Capricorn doesn't run from fear, you refine it. You shape it into bricks, into scaffolding, into strength. Now, take that fear and turn it into a plan. Not a perfect one, a bold one, a real one. Write down the first action that would break the inertia. Send the email, start the proposal, schedule the meeting, make the phone call, even if your hand shakes, especially if it does. Because courage isn't found in comfort, it's forged in the fire of movement. And you, Capricorn, you are movement made manifest. Midday invites another layer. Saturn, your ruling planet, casts a quiet but firm influence on your 6th house. Daily habits, structure, and systems. It's asking, do your habits reflect your future, or do they recycle your past? This is the call to review your routine, not as survival, but as strategy. So pause. Audit your time, not to shame yourself, to empower yourself. Where is your energy going? Who is getting your best hours? What are you putting off that your destiny is already asking for? Make a short list of 3 time leaks, then next to each, write the shift you'll make this week. Even a 1% adjustment, done consistently, reshapes your future. And Capricorn knows this better than anyone. You don't need radical overhauls. You need deliberate momentum. That's how you build empires. Now breathe. Feel how even the small steps, taken with integrity, change your frequency. Because these days aren't about doing more. They're about doing what matters most. And you already know what that is. You've known. Now you act. Monday afternoon arrives with a challenge. One that tests your boundaries. One that pushes on the parts of you that still default to responsibility over alignment. Maybe someone asks you for more than they've earned. Maybe an old pattern shows up in a new disguise. Maybe it's just a moment where you're tempted to overgive again. Pause. Breathe. This is not rejection, it's redirection. The universe is asking, will you protect what you're building, even if it disappoints someone else? Because leadership isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet no that says, I choose my legacy over your urgency. And Capricorn, this is your mastery. You don't need to prove your worth through exhaustion. You prove it by building something that outlives the noise. So say the no with grace. Then turn inward, light a candle, sit in stillness, and whisper this. I am allowed to prioritize my purpose. I do not owe my energy to what drains me. I build from truth, not from guilt. Let it echo in your bones. Let it reset your spine, because this moment, this choice, is your anchor. And when the world pulls at you, you'll remember, you didn't come here to please. You came here to lead. Capricorn, this is just the beginning. You've built your life like a fortress, brick by brick, sacrifice by sacrifice. But early this week, the universe is sending a vibration that doesn't just knock, it echoes through the foundation. It doesn't ask, what did you build? It asks, Why did you build it that way? And Capricorn, that's a question only you can answer. Because some of what you've built was out of love, but some of it was out of fear. Fear of scarcity, fear of failure, fear that if you didn't have it all together, you'd have nothing. And yet, here you are, still standing, still achieving, still holding everything together. But this time, it's different. The stars are asking you not to hold, but to heal, not to fix, but to feel. Because May 26th carries the emotional weight of the moon in Virgo opposing Saturn. And that energy, it doesn't reward perfection, it rewards presence. You might feel the sudden urge to pull back, to isolate, to control what's slipping through your fingers. But control is not clarity. And Capricorn, clarity is what you actually crave. So pause. Mid-morning, create space to check in with your body. Not your calendar, not your to-do list, your actual body. How does your chest feel when you breathe? Are your shoulders bracing for impact, even when nothing's coming? That's the signal. You're carrying pressure that no longer belongs to you. So here's what to do. Get still. Grab your journal. Light a single white candle, the kind that represents clean beginnings. Then write this at the top of the page. What weight am I carrying that I never agreed to hold? Set a timer for 10 minutes. Let the words spill, even if they surprise you. Especially if they surprise you. Because this isn't about managing emotions. It's about meeting them, not with judgment, but with leadership. And Capricorn, emotional leadership is your next level. When the timer ends, underline one sentence, just one, the sentence that feels like a door swinging open. That's the truth you lead with this week. Now stand up, literally. Put on an outfit that makes you feel centered, tailored, grounded, not for style, for energy. Then walk outside, touch the earth, put your palms on a tree. Let nature mirror your structure, not your struggle. Feel the steadiness beneath your feet. Feel your nervous system recalibrate to what's real. Because you don't need noise to feel powerful. You need stillness to feel aligned. Midday on Tuesday, a moment of resistance may rise. A delay, a miscommunication, an invitation to over-explain yourself. Decline it. Not with anger, but with authority. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your boundaries. You're not here to be digestible. You're here to be effective. So anchor that. Say it aloud. I do not apologize for being intentional. Say it again if you need to, because the people who thrive in your presence are the ones who respect your limits, not the ones who test them. By mid-afternoon, your energy softens. But don't mistake softening for surrender. This is not about giving up. It's about letting go. Letting go of narratives that tie your worth to your work. Letting go of proving that you're the most reliable person in the room. Letting go of systems that reward burnout as a badge of honor. This is your opportunity to shift the standard, to rewrite the rules, to decide that your legacy isn't built on depletion, but on discernment. So take a 20-minute walk. No phone, no podcast, just the sound of your steps returning you to yourself. Think of it as a boardroom meeting, but the boardroom is your heart. What decision needs to be made? What truth have you been delaying? What commitment have you outgrown but stayed in for convenience? You already know the answer, you just need space to hear it. Evening arrives like an exhale. But don't crash into it, honor it. Make dinner slowly, use real plates, pour the drink you've been saving, light 2 candles, one for where you've been, one for where you're going. And as you eat, say thank you. Not for the achievements, but for the resilience it took to keep going, even when it wasn't celebrated. Capricorn, your success is no accident. It's been engineered by soul and sweat. But now it's time to build differently. Not just with discipline, but with devotion. Not just with strategy, but with softness. Because the real power, it doesn't scream, it doesn't scramble, it moves with a quiet confidence that can't be shaken. And you, Capricorn, are ready to move that way now. Tuesday begins with a silence that feels almost sacred. Before the world wakes up, before your phone lights up, before responsibility puts its hands on your shoulders. There is a brief pause, a pocket of stillness, and in that stillness is your answer. Not the one you've been chasing, not the one others expect you to land on, but the one that comes from your bones, from your blueprint, from the version of you that remembers who you were before the accolades, before the deadlines, before the pressure to perform. Capricorn, that version still lives inside you, And today they want a seat at the table. So before the emails, before the plans, return to yourself, light a candle if you need to, or just sit near a window. Watch how the light enters the room. Watch how the shadows shift. That's the dance, that's the metaphor. You are not only the structure, you are the softness that shapes it. So grab your journal. Write this at the top of the page. If I wasn't trying to prove anything, what would I build? Now write, no edits, no expectations. Just let it flow. Because you're not here to live a life of constant justification. You're here to lead by embodiment. To let your presence say what your mouth doesn't need to. And Capricorn, presence is the new power. Mid-morning, energy begins to shift. You might feel a twinge of urgency, a spike in pressure, like something inside you wants to sprint. Pause. That's not your cue to hustle. That's your cue to clarify. Because sometimes your ambition doesn't need more gas. It needs a steering wheel. So instead of doing more, direct more. Look at the tasks ahead. Ask which one of these actually moves the needle. Not for status, not for optics, but for alignment. Choose that one, just one, and give it your full presence. Not multitasking, not half effort, full, embodied, deliberate execution. Because when you move like a leader, the universe follows your lead. And today, the universe is watching how you wield your yes, because every yes carves a path, every no protects your legacy. And Capricorn, legacy isn't built in noise. It's built in nuance. Midday brings reflection, not regret, but realignment. Where have you been overcommitting? Overgiving? Overproving? Write a short list. Keep it honest. This isn't punishment. This is pattern interruption. Now, next to each one, write, what would this look like if I led with trust instead of fear? Because you've done enough surviving. You've mastered endurance. What's next is elegance, not aesthetic, energetic. A way of moving that honors your inner compass, not external pressure. Let yourself feel that shift. It won't be loud, but it will be lasting. Early afternoon invites softness. Put on something comfortable. Play instrumental music, violin, ambient, or slow jazz. Prepare a simple meal with care. Plate it beautifully. Sit down. Eat without distraction. Let nourishment become ceremony. Because every time you treat yourself like you matter, the world adjusts. And Capricorn, you are not optional. You are essential. To every room you enter, to every system you design, to every mission you lead. So feed yourself like you feed the world. With care, with clarity, with commitment. Later, a window of insight opens. It may come through a message, a flash of intuition, a random idea that feels like it dropped from the sky. It's not random. It's recalibration. The universe is giving you coordinates. So pause. Take note. Write it down. This could be the outline for a new offering, the name of a future project, the solution to a problem that's been lingering in the background. Don't ignore it. Don't dismiss it. Capture it. Because Capricorn, you are a builder. And builders don't just wait for permission. They move when the signal is clear. And today, that signal could change everything. Evening arrives with a softness. But it's not collapse, it's conscious closure. You've carried a lot these past 2 days. Not just tasks, but truths. And now it's time to integrate, to choose what stays and what doesn't. So light a candle. Open your journal one final time. Title the page, My Boundaries Are an Act of Legacy. Then list 5 ways you'll lead with boundaries this week. Not to push people away, but to pull purpose closer. Not to control others, but to create clarity within yourself. Read the list aloud. Feel how your body responds. That response? That's the confirmation. That you're no longer building just to survive. You're building to thrive. And Capricorn, the world needs that kind of leadership. Measured, mature, magnetic. That's what you are now. Let the candle burn for a while. Let the silence hold you. Let the day end not with exhaustion, but with exhale. Because when Capricorn rests in truth, the whole world breathes easier. Now step outside. Let the night air remind you that legacy isn't loud. It's lasting. Look up. Even if you can't see the stars, know they're still orbiting, like you. Because Capricorn, you don't follow constellations. You build from them. You architect from alignment. And from this moment forward, you're not asking for time. You're commanding it. So sleep tonight not as rest, but as readiness. Because the version of you who rises tomorrow, They don't explain, they execute, and the world will feel the shift before you say a word.